um, NBT too strong. Alright, much like everyone else, I'm sick and tired of the fire meta, and unfortunately, judging by the ban list, that's not going to change for at least another month. So, in that, we're playing a deck with a type advantage against fire now. And by type advantage, I mean Cybers. Cybers type plus Rivalry of Warlords. That's right. We're committing some war crimes against fire decks. Like, in all seriousness, we haven't gotten this Broken Water support yet, so if in the next 2 years Konami prints Water Snake Eyes, this game's actually just straight up over. But thankfully we're still in the fire phase, so we don't have to worry about that as of yet. But Marincess, if there's one thing Marincess does, and if there's only one reason and advantage that Marincess has this format, because there's I'm gonna be honest with you, there's not many reasons to play Marincess right now. But one of them is that this deck has the room for the most hand traps in the game. Including all the Cybers decks and all the fire decks, none of them have room to run as many hand traps. So that is the one thing we have here. I'm running 18 hand traps, baby. Maxi, Ash, Valor, Nibiru, Infinite Impermanence, Ghost Mourner. I'm running all this shit. 18 slots. You can run like 16 and get it down to like 40 cards, or you can run like 17 and cut the rivalry to get it down to 40 cards. But I need to see. I want to see non-engine, so I boosted up to 42 just so I can include more room for non-engine. And yeah, that's not really much else to say. The game plan is hand trap your opponent to death, because that's the kind of format we're in right now. And at least if you're getting a hand trap with your opponent, you're gonna be the deck that has more hand traps than your opponent does. So there you go. The reason I'm running Mourner and not something like Droll is because one of the worst matches for Marincess, honestly, arguably even worse than Snake Eyes, is Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace set 4 is unwinnable for Marincess, and if my opponent normal summons Airlifter and I have Droll in hand, I'm gonna click top left. I'm gonna leave that game, because Droll is not gonna stop Turbulence set 4, and I'm not waiting through that. So instead, we're running 18 hand traps that are all good against all of those matchups. So Mourner is good against Rescue Ace. It's not gonna stop him by itself, but the key is you open 2 hand traps. You have like a 74 under a 75% chance, because that map doesn't count for dupes, and having 2 Ash or 2 Mourner hard once per turn hand trap moment. But if you open 2 hand traps, you should generally be able to stop Turbulence set 4, and you should have a good chance to stop your Fire King opponent. Now, if they do open Called by plus Kieran, well, sucks. You gotta move on. You play Marincess, you're not gonna win every game with this deck. But yeah, the hand traps, baby. And the main engine, I've slimmed it down to basically the smallest that you can conceivably run. This is like the lowest engine count I think you can get away with while playing Marincess like this format. You'll notice I'm not running stuff like Ran Adrian or Game Adrian, for a simple reason that Ran Adrian is not actually a starter. In order to do this, you need to open a Marincess card, and I'm running the minimum amount of Marincess cards there is, and I'm also going over 40. So there's just a higher chance that you might actually just brick on not having Marincess names, and Ran Adrian doesn't help you out there. So yeah, it also takes up more slots that I would just rather use for running more non-engine, because playing Ran Adrian into a board isn't actually gonna help me break it, unfortunately. Yeah, Marincess names 3 NBT is the best one. This Foolishness of Marincess name, and then it can excavate. It has like a Pearly excavate effect plus the classic Cybers Salamangreat Gazelle dump effect. Now this isn't as good as this is your best starter, but this isn't as good of a Cyber starter as other Cybers decks have. Like Circular, which does the effect of MBT except as a cost and doesn't cost a normal summon. who the hell designed that card, but yeah, we're gonna have to live with the normal summon effect foolish of MBT, but it's fine. It'll get you there. Seahorse is just an extender that special summons to a link point, a zone that one of your Marincess monsters links points to. Unfortunately, it doesn't work if you don't control monsters. That's where Spring Girl comes in. This is your best extender. This is also why I'm still running Slant Mining. One is to get up to 15 names. I have 15 cards that are either Marincess monsters or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16 names. I have 16 Marincess names that any single Marincess name gets you at least to a link for. If you have a better starter like say Seahorse or Wu-Tang, then you can get more than you can insert like a wave as well and add onto your end board. But if as long as you open 1 of 16 of your Marincess monster, you can do a play. And Scion Mining also searches you Spring Girl, which Spring Girl is the only Marincess monster that can special summon itself when you don't control a monster, which is very important to play through removal and play through interruption. So having 2 mining lets you have more chances of opening your extender to play through your opponent's board, and this is the best extender in your deck. And also 3 Pascalas. A lot of people don't like this one because it plays bad into Max Seed. Well, look, man, it's if you get Max Seed on anything, you're gonna lose anyways. So Pascalas at the very least lets you play through other forms of removal because it summons a Marincess monster from your hand. So if they try to, this at least doesn't lose directly on your normal summon getting removed because you get to summon another body, and it has a recycle effect that comes up on follow-up turns. But yeah, this deck has the strongest follow-up in the game, so when you go first, you're not setting up a board that like stops your opponent from playing an FTK. This ain't like other Cybers decks, you know, like Adagnister or Salad that win the game with their board. You set up maybe a couple interruptions, a few hand traps, and then you go to your turn, and then on the follow-up turn, this deck has still has one of the strongest follow-ups in the game. It has like 3 different forms of follow-up, and you will be able to end your opponent on the turn 3 if it passes back to you. And 1 Basilima as a 1-up. I think you don't have to run this. If you want to get the deck count down to 40, you can cut this as well, but Basilima is basically its branded opening if it's in the grave. So that's obviously in a Fire King meta, I think that's pretty important. Just that's another layer of protection. If you have a good enough hand, you can NBT dump Basilima, and then you have like a protection against like a Peruvian Princess or a Kirin or a Skyburn or anything like that, or like a Extinguish. Extinguish is also pretty annoying. But yeah, this is now granted, I say that, but I haven't actually been able to use this against any of those. That hasn't really come up because the idea is if you hand trap your opponent enough, then they can't actually put up any interruption in the first place. So then like this kind of not that needed, but yeah, this point is it isn't needed. You can run it if you want. I think it's okay, but it is fringe. But at the very least, it's not a brick either. Any normal summon Marincess monster name still gets you to a link for at least, so it's not a terrible draw either. And Bandarin is just another extender. It's if you don't need the protection of Basilima, you will dump this with Wu-Tang, and then this just gets, if you control 2 Marincess monsters, you get special summon itself. You don't want to open too many of this and like clog on it, because you need to actually get to the point where you have control Marincess link monsters first before you summon this. But yeah, it's a nice extender. And then 2 dive, 1 battle ocean. This is about the smallest you can get this package. If you're really insane, you can run 1 and 1, but maybe that there's a case for that. I wouldn't run more than this because again, you need to fit room for hand traps to have a chance of winning this format. So yeah, the maxi outs, and then one war crime of the rivalry of the war crimes. Yeah. Free extra. Oh yeah. I'm also not running Sleepy Maiden. This used to be a thing. This Sleepy Maiden, basically it enables you to make a Aqua Argonaut, give it a spell negate while you don't control Battle Ocean. Now that's not really relevant anymore because Aqua Argonaut without Battle Ocean only has 2300 attack. So there's this card called Kashtira Unicorn that people can special summon to run over your Aqua Argonaut as is. So you know, I don't really like making Argonaut without a Battle Ocean anyways. Or like there's also cards like Kirin that also run this over when it doesn't have Battle Ocean. There's just a lot of stuff that... Oh yeah, and Diabellstar, the Black Witch. Forgot about that one. It's another big one that has more than 2300 attack, but people just special summon. So yeah, that's why I don't run Sleeping Maiden anymore. It's just the Aqua Argonaut without a Battle Ocean. It's just not really that good. It hasn't been good for a while. Yeah, so for the extra deck, 2 Blue Slug, 2 Sea Angel, 2 Core Enemy. This is the standard. 1 Crystal Heart. In a hand where you have a lot of extenders, you can make I wouldn't make Crystal Heart over Core Angel. Like, I would prioritize Core Angel searching Wave first before making Crystal Heart, because Wave makes your monsters unaffected, makes every monster unaffected, not just the one in the extra monster zone, and it's an actual interruption. And Coral Triangle is follow-up. But if you can get the Coral Triangle and you have extenders to make Crystal Heart or not, then I will make the Crystal Heart too, because then that also means your Aqua Argonaut in the extra monster zone is just immune forever as long as they don't remove Battle Ocean. Which a lot of people don't know what Marincess does because they haven't played against it in a while. And yeah, if they don't know that your Aqua Argonaut is unaffected because of Battle Ocean plus Crystal Heart, then that's you can get some free wins that way, as you might see in one of the replays. Slash Mage, you need this for the 1-card combo, and for hands that are like kind of awkward, you need you make this because it gives you a Link 2 for your core enemy to revive, so that you can make a Link 4 with this and this in their very bad hands. SP Little Knight, yes, you do waterlock yourself. However, notably, Sea Angel does not waterlock you. So if you're in a position where you think you need to make SP Little Knight, you make Sea Angel not before Blue Slug. That way you don't waterlock yourself, so you can still go into an SP Little Knight. And this does come up quite, not too often, but I think it warrants like a 15 extra deck slot, especially if you're not running the Ice J stuff. 1 Marble Rock, the other Link 3. It's basically you go through this mainly when you're going for the Zealandis OTK line, because it gives you another water in hand, and you can then use the water in hand to pitch out Great Bell Reef to revive something, then it gets you more bodies on the field. But yeah, it's also recycle resources, but you don't want to make this over Coral Triangle usually, because Coral Triangle searches Wave, which is the best, honestly the best card in your deck. But yeah, it also has an effect that stops attacking, although that's only come up for me once ever playing this deck. But it does come up more often now with Rivalry, in that you can use it to, if your opponent's like trying to crash something to rid their field of of like a certain type, you can actually Marble Rock to just stop their attack so that they can't crash their cards, so then they're stuck with it on the Rivalry. Now that's an extremely rare case, but it is something that you can do with Marble Rock, so keep that in mind. Core Triangle searches Wave, and also it's a soul charge. If your opponent wipes your board and you don't control any more monsters, it's a soul charge too. So this is like part of the reason why Marincess has such insane follow-up. This is like one of the most insane follow-up in the game. Bubble Reef and Aqua, we talked about Aqua Argonaut. This is their spell and trap negate only on your opponent's turn, because clearly if this could negate on both turns, Marincess would just be too strong. It would just be too oppressive of a deck. That's clearly why you can't negate on your turn as well with Aqua Argonaut. Alas. Great Bubble Reef. This is you go into this if you don't have access to Battle Ocean, because then obviously you can't equip it, and then you can't have an Aqua Argonaut negate. But yeah, it's like a bad Heat Soul. It draws, but only starting from the next turn. You can't draw on the turn you summon this, so don't do that. But a lot of times this will be your pathway into Zealandis, because it has an effect where you can ditch a water monster to summon one of your banished water monsters, which is most likely banished off of Spring Girl summoning itself. So that gets you an extra body, so you can get more damage on the board before you use Zealandis, before you turn this into Zealandis. And yeah, Zealandis. Yeah. I mean, you see what all the fire decks are doing, right? They're Zealandis with Promethean Princess just OTKing you out of nowhere. Well, Marincess has an arguably even more degenerate interaction with Zealandis, in that you are special summoning the monsters back. Okay, that's a key part of the wording, and you have about 20 different ways to waterlock yourself. And when you're waterlocked, you cannot special summon non-water monsters, and nobody is really playing water monsters this format. So that means your opponent's entire board gets banished, and none of them come back because you can't special non-water. So this just turns into a complete board wipe, and then you can enter battle phase, and then it turns into then it removes spell traps too. So this is like Marincess access code that banishes. And if that's why I said if Konami ever prints Water Snake Eyes and Zealantis is still legal, this game is just over. Like straight up, this completely unplayable. Imagine a good deck that waterlocks itself with Zealantis. Because I don't. Yeah, Aqua Argonaut. Oh, also another thing note about Argonaut is the first line of text is, while this card is in your extra monster, your opponents cannot attack any monsters you control except this one. So yeah, a few times I've had a 4300 Aqua Argonaut, and people have entered battle phase trying to run over my other stuff, like a Scoron enemy I summon back, and then they the classic, their monster looks like it lists off the board, and then they try to attack it, and they're like, wait, I can't attack anything else, and then they put it back down, and then they enter main phase 2. That's the classic. You won't see that in any of the replays because the replays don't show that, but trust me, that's happened before. And like that's the advantage of this deck, is that a lot of people will just misplay against you because they don't know what the cards do. So in order to see possibly some of those misplays, let's go to the replays. Okay, so this is a hand that it seems pretty good, right? It has starter, extender, and 2 anti-hand trap. The problem with Marincess is that often the best cards in your hand are the non-engine, specifically the hand traps, and this hand contains none of them. So I have to pray that my opponent actually has hand traps for me to throw at me so that I can actually get value out of these cards. Because what you don't want is having these sit in your hand while your opponent has all gas in their hand and you make your Marincess board, because the Marincess board itself is quite modest. It's not like other Cybers decks where if they do their full combo, they like FDK you. This isn't adding this or this isn't Salamangreat. This is just Marincess. We're ending on a Link 4 at most probably. So I'm gonna normal Pascalis, special Spring Girl go into Blue Slug, activate Blue Slug Chainlink 1, Spring Girl Chainlink 2. And here I'm really worried because my opponent hasn't hand trapped me yet, so I'm figured they might not have a hand trap. And even this is, look at this Spring Girl mill. I milled NBT plus Mandarin. These are the 2 best mills I could have gotten out of my deck. And yeah, my opponent has no hand trap, so I'm gonna have to try to make the best board I can. I'm gonna go into Sea Angel, add Battle Ocean, go into Coron Enemy, revive the NBT that I milled. And then NBT is gonna dump Seahorse, these 2 into Coral Triangle, excavate off NBT, and an enemy will add back the Seahorse, and excavate, and we even excavate a dive and a wave. Although I already have the Coral Triangle on the field, so there's no point adding the wave. I already committed to that line, so I'm just gonna dump an extra copy of Spring Girl out of the wave anyways. Activate Battle Ocean. Special Seahorse, special Mandarin. These 2 go into Crystal Heart. I have enough bodies so we can make Crystal Heart in the main monster zone. So you can make a Aqua Argonaut with a Crystal Heart plus a Link 3, so you made it with a Link 3 and a Link 2. That way, this is unaffected as long as Battle's on the field. This was a mistake. I shouldn't have equipped all 3. I should have only equipped the 2 because that if I equip all 3, I can't set Callby and Crossout because that blocks me out of using Wave. Because I still need 5, even though this can be used from hand, I still need 5, spell trap zones to be able to use this. So I should have only equipped 2. That way, I still have room to activate Wave and still set all 3 of the Crossout and Callby. So I'm going to dive, and I'm going to dive special out Basilima, so I have Destruction Protection as well. And go into Splash Mage, and then Splash Mage will revive whatever, and go into Marbled Rock, and then Marbled Rock will add back another monster as protections and set one. You notice I effed up. I couldn't set the Crossout Detonator. Not that this actually does anything. I'm for sure nobody is actually on Marincess themselves, so I don't have anything good to cross out. But yeah, that's I equipped it one too many. But yeah, we have Wave, we have Called By. This is like the absolute best board Marincess can make, by the way, which is Aqua Argonaut plus a Link 3, which isn't even a disruption. This Link 3 is just here so that I can't get Kaiju'd and then not be able to activate Wave. This way, if they remove one of my monsters, I still have control Link 3 Marincess monster, so that way I still have Wave live. Although Kaijus aren't really in the format, so it's not really that relevant. And then this also blocks an attack, sort of. But again, blocking an attack is such a useful effect in 2024, right? And yeah, our opponent activates Pressure Planet Rates off. I just let that go. Honestly, I let that go. They special Fender, and this Fender, the only threat of this Fender is banishing my Battle Ocean. So if any time they activate it, I'll just negate it so they can't manage my Battle Ocean, and they still can't attack over my Argonaut. But yeah, they're gonna Fender, add Unicorn. I don't really care. They can't, not like they can special the Unicorn right now. And then they're gonna die Bellstar. Get Original Sinful Spoils. And then they're going to activate Divine Temple. They just open all the field spells. Then they're going to Divine Temple, send away the Poplar. And here I'm going to negate the Original Sinful Spoils. Even though it's kind of bad because they didn't use their normal summon yet. They really didn't use any resources. But, you know, I can't... I don't think I'm going to have a better target to negate besides this anymore. So, there goes that. And then they're going to use Fender, target... Here's one of the advantages of Marincess that I also should mention. It's the power of literacy. And since your opponents are probably going on months on end without actually playing against the Marincess opponent, they don't know what names the cards do. So they don't know that my Aqua Argonaut is unaffected, even though I even placed Crystal Heart to remind them that my Aqua Argonaut is in fact unaffected. So that's a very nice Fenrir target. And yeah, here comes the Poplar, here comes the Bonfire, adding Oak. You're gonna normal Oak. Get send 2 to I don't know why they added Oak and not Ash. I don't know why they set the Poplar if they're going to add Oak and they could do a special back to Poplar. Either way, that gets called by, so at least you get value out of this called by. And our opponent is, as you can see, our opponent is unhinged. They literally opened all 3 field spells in their deck, and now they can link these 2 off into Nightmare Phoenix, and then Nightmare Phoenix, finally they realized that Battle Ocean is protecting my Aqua Argonaut, so I am going to wave this. So now, after a wave, everything is unaffected for the rest of the turn, regardless if I have Battle Ocean up or not. They have Fire King Island, but they're going to have to try to play through this board with everything unaffected at the very least. So now they're going to special Garunix. Garunix is going to pop Kieran, and then Kieran is going to special Arvada, and then finally pop the Ocean. Then you're going to go to battle phase, and here they're going to attack over my Aqua Argonaut. So I'm going to negate it with Spring Girl. So now they're going to crash their Arvada in. And Arvada is going to special back Kieran. And then Kieran is going to attack over my Aqua Argonaut. Now main phase 2. Again, the power of literacy. Okay? It's a very important advantage in Yu-Gi-Oh! So they're going to go into the rank 8 Garunic, then pop everything. Except, whoops. Yeah. It would be a shame if Marincess Wave had card text that protected all of my, that made all my monsters unaffected after the turn. So, there's a few things wrong with this play. Number one, wrong thing. My monsters were already unaffected. Number 2, I have Basilalima engraved. Okay, so even if I didn't have Wave active for some reason, I could still protect my monsters by banishing Basilalima. Okay, number 3, I don't even care if my monsters get popped because I have this card called Coral Triangle engraved. So if these get popped, I can just soul charge both of these. I can soul charge an enemy and another link one back, and just do the same play. Basically, I would have done anyways. So this was absolutely not the right play, and yeah, you would have been better off just making this on my turn. Not that it wouldn't have really. I don't even think that would have let them win, but it would have been better than literally using 2 buys to do absolutely nothing. So yeah. If your opponent not reading your cards is one way to make this deck shoot up a tier or 2 in a tier list. So yeah, an enemy will bring back NBT, and then I'll blue select back my extenders 1 by 1, and NBT will reveal another copy of NBT and add itself. And yeah, I'll keep going. Normal NBT, Sea Angel, add Dive. These 2 going to Bubble Reef, special Spring Girl, and then I'm going to make Zealantis, or yeah, I'm gonna make Zealantis. This is how water decks use Zealantis. Okay, there's a battle of Zealantis here. Okay, you know how all the fire decks like just use Zealantis as a cringe LDK tool for moving Princess. Well, Zealantis here, I'm waterlocked, so I'm gonna banish the entire field, and then this gets banished and it doesn't come back because I can't special non-water. So cool. This is much more interesting, right? Just the full field banish board wipe yeah. I'm gonna activate Battle Ocean, and then I'm gonna dive, and they're not even gonna let me do the Zealantis. They're just gonna leave because yeah, probably gonna pick up a novel. This game, our opponent begins with the threatening play of set 2 pass. So obviously this hand is average Marincess hand. This is more of a typical Marincess hand. 5 non-engine, 1 Marincess monster. So obviously we got 1 play, Miss Pascal's. He gets Max Seed, and here's the mini game time. Ash Blossom. Oh, called by the Ash Blossom. Okay, well, and then we're gonna cross out, and this is a mistake. So I cross out the Max Seed because I wanted to play around a potential Ash in their hand. So if I cross out a Maxi, then the Maxi will get negated, and then their Ash will negate, and then their Collar would negate Ash. So if I go into like a Sea Angel, then I wouldn't have to worry about Ash. But the problem is that they already have a face down set, so this is definitely not Ash. It's probably some imperm we're called by. So it wouldn't matter if they had Ash because they would stop my play anyways. So this was a mistake. Instead, I called Ash, and now. I called Maxi, and now they're gonna call by the Ash. Now the second Ash in my hand is gonna be dead for my opponent's turn. So yeah, that's a whoopsie right there. Not really a common play you think about, but yeah, that's why I messed up there. So we're gonna go into battle phase because I'm so confident that this is a fucking imperm or called by it there now that I'm just gonna get in for the extra 200 before my AC Angel gets negated. Then I go into Sea Angel, and it doesn't get negated, and I'm thinking, called by. It's not called by. Huh. You're gonna see what this back row is in a little bit. So yeah, basically I do the entire combo where I go into Splash Mage, and then we bring back the Splash Mage to go to a Link 4, because that's you have to go through Splash Mage if you want to end on a Link 4 if you just start with Pascalis. But yeah, they let all of that through, and I get dive back for follow up and nothing. So I'm like hella confused right now with this. They did have responses too, by the way. And yeah, I'm gonna banish Slash Mage, draw another card, draw Mining for follow up, and our opponent's gonna this was a great game. This was a great 4 more hand traps in my hand, baby. And yeah, I'm gonna draw another one. 5 hand traps again. We're back up to 5 hand traps. And now I'm gonna sign at mining. Pitch one of the Mourners for a blue tank, summon NBT, dump Horse, add Seahorse with Blue Slug, special Blue Slug, go into the core Anemone, bring back NBT, link off into Sea Angel, the Sea Angel, get yeah, I get the Excavate off of the NBT at the Mandarin, and then Sea Angel at Battle Ocean. My opponent's letting me cook so hard, and then I'm gonna use Great Bubble Reef to bring back Core Enemy, and before I enter battle phase, yeah, they're responsible to Scary Call Kashtira. So this is bricked up cash bricked up out of their mind. And yeah, I'm gonna go into Zealantis now, so I can still OTK, except it's the Rune Cannon. So yeah. Was this worth it? Was it worth holding into the Rune Cannon this long? Like, yeah, you stopped my play, but I have access to Battle Ocean now with... I still have 5 cards in hand. Check that, I have 6 cards in hand because Core Enemy adds back my MBT, and now I'm going to use Dive to special summon... I was going to special summon Tascalis out of my deck, but it got Ash Blossom, so yeah, they're on 0 cards versus my 6 cards. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty good Daruma Cannon. And I'm gonna add back the Dive with Pascalis. Yeah, 7 cards in hand. I guess, yeah, that does oh, alright, cool. So We're gonna dive again, get Pascalis, get NBT, put Basilema in the grave because I literally have everything else in my grave setup already. Go the blue slug, add back core and enemy. I have so much in my grave set that I'm actually just putting back core and enemy so I can make it again. But they're gonna call back the core and enemy, so yeah. There goes that idea. But I'm gonna get the animation, the NBT, add the Spring Girl. I've never hit this many times off NBT consecutively. I'm gonna get I equip the blue tank to make it funny, bring back the Mandarin, go into Marbled Rock, add back Seahorse, special Seahorse, enter battle phase, attack over the Scarecrow Cash because I'm not gonna kill them this turn. But I mean, what are they gonna do? Main phase 2, Spring Girl, make the Crystal Heart, and these two go into Aqua Argonaut. So yeah, now we have Aqua Argonaut with 5 hand traps, and I don't think I didn't use a single one of these hand traps. I just had these in hand the entire game. Yeah, average bricked up cash hand. You Kashtira players gotta build your decks better. Bro, why are you on double Scareclaw Kashtira? So we're against my opponent who is bricked up, and this hand is nice because it contains an Alpha Maxi. That's all I'm looking for. You can play through most other hand traps, you just cannot play through a Maxi. Speaking of hand traps, Ash Blossom on Sea Angel. Now you never want to see double Seahorse because it's useless. You can only special summon it once, but opening dive is good because dive lets me go into core an enemy still, and then an enemy will bring back Seahorse, and I'm gonna go with the blue slug just to add back as a resource, even though I can't special both. It's just nice to have a card in hand. Then go into Coral Triangle. An enemy will add back dive, and then I will special one of the Seahorses and pitch the other one for Marincess Wave. Special Seahorse going to Grey Bubble Reef, and I get to draw a card. And this is still, I mean, three hand traps plus I get a draw every turn, and my Grey Bubble Reef is going to be unaffected if my Wave Ed resolves. Pretty nice. And Vanish Seahorse, draw another hand trap. Can't use this one right now, but they're going to begin with Fire King Island, and I'm going to Ash the Fire King Island because the Garunic can actually get big enough to a point where it runs over Great Bubble Reef. Now, I could just negate the Garunics, but then you're playing into like Kieran and other stuff like that. So I have 2 other hand traps. That was my line of thinking. So they're gonna normal summon Planos, now gonna Effect Veiler because they can add the Quick Play spell, which can pop my Great Bubble Reef during my draw phase. Although that wouldn't be good for them, but you know I was like you already normal summon, you already use Fire King Island. What else can you do, right? Oh, you have Bonfire, so you're gonna Bonfire, special Poplar, and then just gonna wave the Poplar because you clearly don't have Kieran right now because you would have used it on the Ponix. So yeah, you can do whatever you want. You get on the Hida, but Hida when they only have Ponix and Snake Eyes Poplar in the grave doesn't really do anything for them. They're gonna summon my Ash and they're gonna enter battle phase actually to crash because they realize that they actually have no place, but they search Kurikara. That's a very interesting line. Make Hida crash to search Kurikara to out my Great Bubble Reef because it's unaffected. So that's cool. But this also turns my Imperm live. I'm fine with that, and they're gonna go into Linkaribo, and they're gonna go into SP Little Knight, and SP is going to banish my Coral Triangle for follow-up, except I have Imperm, and they have no other monsters on the field, so because they cleared my field, they can't dodge this Imperm with SP. So because of that, they're gonna lose because they can't deal with the Coral Triangle follow-up. If you ever resolve this, you're going to win the game, pretty much almost all the time. So yeah, Coral Triangle gets back these 2 for free without a normal summon. Activate for an enemy just to bail out the SP Little Knight, and yeah, it works. But you know, I just have follow-up for days in my hand. So if you normal summon Spring Girl, go into the second Sea Angel. When you ever see the double Sea Angel board right here, and get Sea Angel to add Battle Ocean, burn them for 200. Special MBT from the deck with a dive with Battle Ocean. Dump Mandarin, go into Blue Slug, add back the same Spring Girl that I normal summon, and then I'm gonna equip. The Blue Slug. I hit again off NBT. Like, you're supposed to have, it's like the hit rate off NBT is like not that high. It's because you saw how much of my deck is non-engine and how little of it is actually Marincess cards. But yeah, this is like way less likely to hit than a White Cat on Pearly. But you know, we're just hitting them. And yeah, Seahorse is going to special summon Pascalis and enter battle phase, because this is already a game. They burned them. They crashed into my Bubble Reef, so now they're at 6450 and this is 67. So yeah, the Blue Slug, the Link 1 equipped with Battle Ocean for Lethal. But this is one of my best games I've played, and we have NBT plus Seahorse, so this is going to be a very decent board, and the Blue Slug is going to add back Spring Girl, and I'm going to finally miss off the NBT. Finally, I was like, the universe is back in balance. Special summon Spring Girl, banishing NBT, go into Sea Angel, and then chain block the Sea Angel from Ash, not that they had Ash, and then add the Battle Ocean, go into Coral Anemone, bring back Sea Angel, go into Coral Triangle, add back the Spring Girl, pitch the Spring Girl for yeah, it gets Ash. So they did have Ash. This is actually a decently smart way to save Ash save it for the Coral Triangle, that way you don't get Wave, because Wave is the most strong part of my end board. Unironically enough, it's the Disruption plus makes everything a towers. Unfortunately, I do have the Called by the Grave, because you know, I love cards that are buff going first. That definitely needed in this in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. And yeah, we're going to go into Aqua Argonaut, and we have Argonaut plus 3 Handtraps. And our opponent normal summon Salamangreat Gazelle. And I know from experience that if you normal summon Gazelle, your hand isn't that great, because Gazelle is not a card you want to normal summon, because it can just special summon itself. So if you have any other starter, you would likely want to open with that, but because you open with Gazelle, that's, in my mind, that shows that either you're playing extremely weird, or it shows that your hand is relatively weak. So because of that, I'm gonna wave the Gazelle right now, so I don't say another better target, and then they're gonna Forbidden Droplets away the Gazelle. Very interesting. And Forbidden Droplets, it kind of cooks me, because now it dodges the wave, so I don't make my Aqua Argonaut unaffected. Also, my Aqua Argonaut's negate is now no longer live, so I can't even summon back the Coral Anemone. And then they're going to dump Foxy and special a second Gazelle. So they had double Gazelle. That explains the weird lines. And the Foxy is actually pretty decent. They're gonna dump Sanctuary and pop my Battle Ocean, which sucks, but also they used up all their cards in hand, and they hard open Sanctuary, so they have like 1 card in hand. And we're gonna go to Mirage Stalio, and annoyingly enough, Mirage Stalio is the 4th summon, so I can't Nibiru this. I would Nibiru the hell out of this board if I could, because then it sends the Torn Enemy to the grave, which adds back follow-up. But yeah, 4th summon, I have the Ghost Mourner, and their last play was Called by. So, well, it's only fair, 2 Cybers decks just battling out with non-engine. They just happen to open a Board Breaker and Called by instead of Handtraps. And yeah, fortunately, this Mirage Stalio is then gonna add Salamangreat Fire, which is gonna add a Weasel, and then you're gonna link these 2 off into Sunlight Wolf. Then it's going to Mirage Stalio is gonna put back my Aqua Argonaut in the extra, which honestly I would prefer that, because I was gonna Nibiru anyways, and I would rather Nibiru give them a smaller token than you know, have to tribute off my Aqua Argonaut. I had the follow up of Coral Anemone anyways, adding a Spring Girl. And yeah, I Nibiru here because I don't know if it's correct. It was actually probably not correct, because they would have the special Weasel from their hand to extend further, so I could just nail the Weasel. Yeah, this is definitely This is not the correct time from Nibiru. I had whoopsie, I messed up there. I gave my opponent. Now they can't do anything because it still stops their turn, but they just get an extra draw out of this for no reason because they get the Phalanx and then give me the Saddle of Fire and then get an extra draw out of this, which actually did matter. And yeah, I also put the token in attack for no reason, so they, yeah, that was all kinds of bad. Like I literally, the Nibiru token should be in defense so that whatever they give me off Weasel they can't run over. Also, I should have Nibiru like one summon later. So yeah, that's me messed up, and now I'm getting punished for it. It's fair, you know. If you misplay, you should get punished for the misplay. That in a just world. So I am gonna special Spring Girl, and this Nibiru also, like, this is why I'm not the hugest fan of Nibiru, because if I Nibiru my opponent, it also blocks off my own Coral Triangle, very annoyingly enough. So yeah, especially if the Nibiru token is too small. If the Nibiru token is like actually large, I would just crash my Nibiru into the token and then free my board for Coral Triangle, but I couldn't do that. So I'm gonna go Sea Angel, Spring Girl, and here's where I get punished because the card they drew off Weasel wasn't an imperm, it was an actual real non-engine. So yeah, we're gonna go into the Forbidden SP Little Knight lined with Marincess and banish the Hida. So now we're playing a top deck war with Salad. SP plus Maxi versus Salamangreat top decking, and they're gonna set a card, not set a monster, what is this, Infernity, draw Ash Blossom. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those games. And they're gonna normal the third gazelle. They just hard drew all three gazelles, by the way. That's honestly that's kind of unlucky because you don't want to draw all three of them, you know. You do want to act them the other ways. And Gazelle also loses the SP Little Knight. They actually burn their rage on the SP Little Knight just so just to get rid of the SP. And their Gazelles can't really do anything because they don't control body anymore, so we're back to top decking, and I top deck Sign of Mining. So yeah. Yeah, I just top deck better than my opponent. That's just what it is. So, like I played like a monkey a little bit, and I guess I got rewarded for it because Yu-Gi-Oh is a fair game. And Seahorse going to the core of the enemy. Speaking of playing like a monkey, watch this line of play. Okay, so I add Marble Rock back. Add back Spring Girl off of enemy Marble Rock. Add back Battle Ocean. I'm gonna activate Battle Ocean, and I'm gonna special Spring Girl. If I had just add back the monster instead of Battle Ocean, I would have won the game because I could have made Atlantis and do all that stuff. But here you're gonna see this. Okay, special this back. This is at 4200, and we're gonna go into Bubble Reef, equip, 46. I whiffed lethal by 200 points. Like, come on, bro. You gotta do better than this. You gotta find a way to do better than 6k damage on an empty board with your starter. Like, come on, dude. Like, it doesn't matter because this is way too much card advantage, and I have the Ash in hand anyways too. But you know, I didn't mean to BM you by putting you down to 200. I generally try to find a route for game, and I just whiffed by the most embarrassing way. And yeah, my opponent doesn't have anything, so I will attack them for game. My bad, bro. In a more just world, they would have won that game, not me. Alright, so this is a very atypical game. I'm sure you've seen enough of my combos by now to know what's gonna happen. This is a little bit of an interesting line because we hard draw dive, so I can just normal summon the Mandarin, add Battle Ocean, and then use the dive as E-Telly to get MBT from deck, and then MBT will dump Blue Tang, go into core enemy, get the MBT excavate, hit another Seahorse. Like I just get double Seahorse to like it's my job, but the Seahorse is fucking glued to my hand. And yeah, we're gonna go Blue Slug, I'm gonna add back MET because there's no point adding back the second Z-Horse once again. Go into Coral Triangle, MBT, or core enemy, add back Dive or follow-up, send MBT, add Wave, special, Spring Girl, special Seahorse. I don't even use Mandarin because we haven't. I had so many extenders with this hand that I don't even need to use Manage to Revive itself to make the Crystal Heart. But yeah, this is going to be an unaffected Aqua Argonaut with 3 hand traps. So yeah, here's the unfortunate part. My opponent sets 5. Fun fact: the Aqua Argonaut can only negate a spell trap on your opponent's turn, not your turn. Why? Because clearly it would have been too good if you could just negate on both turns, right? Marincess would be just too oppressively strong as a control deck, clearly, to allow you to negate on both turns. So yeah, instead they're gonna Morella, dump rollback, and it's gonna be one of these games. It's gonna be one of these games. Thank you very much, Joshua Schmidt. I love playing against Paleos, bro. I love it. Blue Tang gets Canadian. So yeah, unfortunately, the funny thing is, Aqua Argonaut negating is like half you want it for negation, but also the other half is that it gets you follow-up because it summons Coral Enemy from your spell trap, which then puts pressure on your opposing turn. Because I didn't negate anything, I don't actually have any monsters for follow-up. I just have fucking hand traps that are dead versus Paleo. So yeah, my only play was NBT, which gets booked, so I don't have anything. I can only attempt to enter battle phase. And clearly my attack is gonna go through, right? Like my attack is definitely gonna go through. And yeah, I can't even chain Wave because Wave is a trap. Oh, 1, these are non-effect monsters, but 2, Wave, even if I chain Wave, they will always be able to Paleo chain to my Wave. So I have no chain blocks really. I'm gonna go into Link Spider now for Link Spider, go into Leon Kolya, bring back the Canadian Engrave and pass. I don't know why they made the Link Spider here. Like, I thought they were gonna make SP, but then they bailed on the SP, so this Link Spider is just chilling. Not really sure why. Draw another Ash that I can use. Flip up MBT, get Canadian again, and yeah, we're in for a long haul here. Leon Kolya comes back, and I enter battle phase, and man, sometimes roll back for Threatening Roar. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. That is the most profitable rollback I've ever seen. And yeah, they're gonna make a Opabinia, and finally, here's where Wave is good, because now Wave can hit the Xyz. Because Opabinia, these Xyz are immune to monster effects, but because we search a trap card, Wave actually does stop them. Now, they still do get their payloads back, so it's not that great for us. Like, I don't really have much of a way to interact with that, so then we're gonna go to SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight, target Battle Ocean, I'm gonna Mourner it. And they're gonna chain SP, targeting my Aqua Argonaut. Now, I got those really messed up. I was on the assumption that SP had to banish both in order to banish something, because it turns out no. If you Ogre SP, it doesn't banish, but if SP target is like an unaffected monster that doesn't get banished, it still banishes itself because it tries to resolve as much as possible. So the Mourner on the SP to save the Battle Ocean did not work. Sorry, it was not perfect interaction. They're gonna Lost Spin, make the mistake to Lost Spinning on their turn. I can actually negate this Lost Spin, and now they don't get the Paleo back, and I get the Corn Enemy back as a follow-up, and they only have 2 cards in hand. After all of that, they only have 2 cards in hand, and obviously this grass is not resolving because I'm bricked up on hand traps, bro. Like, if you try to do something that's not trap related, you're gonna get hand trapped to hell. So yeah. No, yeah, that's Marincess. There's I think there's like only one really new Marincess card or Marincess support that's leaked, which is like the monster that gives you perfect information. But that's like so long in the future that it's not even worth thinking about that right now. I don't even know if that has a release date for the TCG yet. I will say there's one thing about this deck is that Aqua Argonaut and Coral Triangle, these aren't in secret packs yet, which I think literally Konami forgot these cards existed. Because right now, the Marincess Trickstar secret pack, there are no Marincess URs. Because those just simply didn't exist before these two. And Konami for some reason has not updated that secret pack. So you still can't pull for these. I keep, for all people that want to play Marincess, do not pull any secret packs. Because you will not get either of these from any secret pack. You have to basically hard craft Marincess if you want to play it, which it's fine. It's only 2 UR. It's not the biggest deal. Like you would probably just craft this anyway, seeing they were in secret pack because there's not that many. But yeah, Konami needs to like get their shit together, because these cards came out at the same time as Umi Stun, like Kairushin. Like this card. These 2 cards, these 3 cards, they came out at the same time. Kairushin was put in a secret pack months ago, and these still aren't. So come on, Konami.